We've all met that one crazy person, right? The one that says, "The government can hack into your computer and see everything, man." And if you're anything like me back in the day, you may have just said, "Uh-huh, sure," and moved on mildly amused with their apparent delusions. But what if I told you they were right? My name is Rissamore, and I'm going to show you my favorite and the most eye-opening thing I've come across so far in my cybersecurity journey. A tool that the US government used to give themselves a backdoor into almost every Windows computer in the world. I'm going to talk to you about how it was discovered, how it was used in not one, but two of the biggest ransomware attacks of all time, and then at the end, since I have the tool available to me, I'll give you a quick demo to show just how easy it was to use. Before we get started though, be sure to subscribe and like the video so you can keep learning cybersecurity and ethical hacking with me. As a disclaimer, the tools we're going to be demonstrating in this video are quite dangerous if used the wrong way. So please don't try anything in this video on any systems that you don't have explicit permission to do so. Everything shown in this video is being performed in a controlled lab environment and is completely legal. And with that, let's get started. The tool that we're talking about today is something called EternalBlue, and it was released to the public on April 14th, 2017 by a group called the Shadow Brokers after they had stolen it from the NSA. This was only one of the many tools that were stolen and released, but it's definitely one of the most infamous. To this day, we still don't know who the shadow brokers are, but they're commonly believed to be Russian, and the release of all of these tools appear to be politically motivated, at least based off their tweets. In one of their tweets, they accused the United States of trying to start a cyber war with Russia and referred to Joe Biden as Dirty Grandpa, which, I mean, let's face it, is kind of a funny nickname. And then in a later tweet, they appear to show support for Trump in his first term. The tweet reads, "The shadow brokers voted for you. The shadow brokers supports you. The shadow brokers is losing faith in you, Mr. Trump. Helping the shadow brokers, helping you. Is appearing you are abandoning your base, the movement, and the peoples who getting you elected." But the way that the tool was released to the public isn't really the main purpose behind this video. The main purpose is talking about the exploit itself. So what exactly could EternalBlue do? Well, it allowed its users to remotely run commands with system-level access, which is the highest permission level on a Windows computer. And it did this by exploiting a vulnerability in Microsoft's SMB-v1 protocol. Once infected, EternalBlue could be used to spread to other machines with no further user interaction needed. As a result of this, EternalBlue is the reason why two of the largest ransomware attacks were possible. First, there's WannaCry, which was all over the headlines in 2017. It impacted sectors like healthcare, manufacturing, telecommunications, and travel. As I'd mentioned, it was ransomware. So it ended up taking the infected computer's files and encrypting them, and then offered a decryption key for any users that wanted to get their information back if they were willing to pay them in Bitcoin. It's been reported, though, that a lot of those decryption keys never worked in the first place, so a lot of people and organizations just lost money and their files. All in all, it's been estimated that WannaCry caused about $4 billion in damages. The second attack that was made possible by EternalBlue was something called NotPetya. This attack disguised itself as ransomware and did much the same thing that WannaCry did, in the sense that it encrypted a victim's files. It also offered the victims a way to get their files back if they were willing to pay. But the problem was, despite accepting payment, there was no decryption key ever provided. As a result, everybody lost their files, and it's estimated that NotPetya ended up costing about $10 billion in damages. So now that we've covered how EternalBlue was discovered and what kinds of impacts it's had, let's go ahead and take a look at how easy it was to use. So here we are on Kali, with a vulnerable box already provided to us kindly by TryHackMe. And so this is going to be the target IP address for that Windows box. And this is the IP address that I will be using, at least that was provided to me through the VPN. As I mentioned, EternalBlue works through SMB, which runs off of port 445, and we can see that on the victim box here, 445 is open. We can also see that it's running Microsoft DS. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to open up Metasploit through MSF console. And we'll go ahead and let that load for a moment. And now that it's open, we're going to go ahead and search for the exploit that we're looking for. In our case, we know what it's called, but there are other methods to search for exploits in this program. So we're going to go ahead and type in search EternalBlue. And it's going to pop up. And we have a couple of different options up here. In this case, we're going to use this one right here. So I'm going to pop on back on here and say use 0 because it was the first option. And you can see that it's giving us that exploit. Once we have this exploit selected, all that we have to do is go over here and do show options. And we have to update a couple of things inside of here. The first thing that we have to change is going to be the R hosts, which is going to be the remote machine or the victim machine, which we have the IP address for right here. And then we also need to update the L host so that it's going to be the IP address on the VPN that we're working with. So let's go ahead and get that started. So first, we're going to go ahead and type in set R hosts. And we're going to set it to the IP address up there, which is 10.64.149.92. And hit enter so that we can make sure that's correct. Then we're going to go ahead and set the L hosts, or the L host, my mistake. And that one's going to the 192.168.128.155. And then just to make sure that these were all set correctly, let's go ahead and show options again. And we see here that the L host is set correctly, as is the R host. So this exploit is now ready to run. So let's go ahead and run it. We type in run, press enter, let it load for a little bit. And just like that, we get what's called a Meterpreter session. Now, with Meterpreter sessions, we can already get a lot of things going with it. So if we type in help, it gives us a list of all the commands that we can do straight through Meterpreter. This is where you start to see a lot of that scary stuff that a lot of people were afraid of. I don't know if you've ever seen the people that put the, the tape over their cameras and things like that. But this is where you're able to do things like webcam streams or take a picture from a webcam. You can list what webcams they have. You can start a video chat with them. You can record their microphones. Up here, you have some more scary stuff, like you can control parts of their user interface. You can take a screenshot. You can do a screen share so you can watch what they're doing. You can send entire mouse events so you can control their mouse. So there's a lot of things that you're able to do. You're able to get a lot of system info. So like, for instance, let's do system info. Let's do sys info and see what it gives us. So you can see here that we have the name of the computer, exactly which operating system it's on. Windows 7, we're going back a little ways. The architecture, all that good stuff. As I mentioned before, you can use this screen to get the system level permissions, but in this case, we already have it by default. But if you type it in, see we're already running a system. But where this gets really interesting is you're actually able to drop into a shell on this just by simply typing in shell. And just like that, we're essentially in command prompt on this computer. With this, we can run commands just as though we were in front of the computer itself. So for instance, who am I? And ipconfig. You can do all of this stuff remotely. And not only can you do it remotely, but you can do it with permissions that even the system administrator doesn't have. You're going through and operating as system itself. That's higher than the standard admin roles that people set up on their computers. For argument's sake, you have full control over this computer. And you saw how easy it was. It was just a couple of button presses, typing in a couple of fields, and we were in. It really took nothing at all. And to think that this tool was available for who knows how long, and then it was finally released to the public so anybody and everybody could get their hands on it, it's no wonder that the attacks that were caused by this had such a big impact. Anyways, you guys, I hope that you enjoyed the video, and I hope that you found this as interesting as I did when I first discovered it. It was a huge eye-opening experience, and it was really cool that I'm able to share it with you. If you did like the video, and if you want to see more things like this, please go ahead and subscribe, like the video, and leave a comment with what you want to see moving forward. Until the next one, you guys, stay safe, stay legal, and I'll see you later.